Welcome to another ArchViz Extension tutorial. This time I am going to introduce you to the Ambience feature, which allows the player to change the lighting of a room with a button press only. But before I start, let me remind you that the ArchViz Extension is a separately purchable add-on to the Advanced Framework Core and needs the Advanced Framework Core version 4.1 or higher to function. To start, let's have a look at the feature itself. We implemented it in the living room example level in the ArchViz extension with a choice of several UI elements like this palette or this radial menu to access it. Just press one of the buttons to completely change the ambience to night, for example, or to afternoon. And all this without using lots of dynamic lighting, which keeps the living room example level suitable for mobile devices or the Oculus Quest. Before we dive into the setup, let's have a short look on how everything works. The Ambience feature has three main requirements. You need a set of streaming level maps, each encapsulating the static lighting of one ambience. You can see how we did that for the living room map in the ArchViz extension. A manager as information hub and providing the necessary functions for an ambience change, and a suitable user interface to control the ambience, of which the ArchViz extension provides you with a choice of 3 already. First, we need to separate the static lighting in our map from the actors and other entities we want to keep the same. Let's suppose we want two ambiences, night and day. To do that, we create two new maps and call them Map Ambience Day and Map Ambience Night. Next, we add them to the same world map where our existing map already is, and I will refer to the latter as main map from now on. And don't forget to go to the levels window of your world map and mark your ambiences as lighting scenarios by clicking on this sun icon here. Now you will have this multiple lighting scenarios message on the screen, provided you have screen messages enabled, and only your ambiences will be considered in the light build. The current static lighting in our main map looks pretty daylighty, so let's post most of it into the day streaming level. Next, let's make the day streaming level invisible and set up the nighttime ambience. And finally, don't forget to check if you have all static lights in the correct level, and remember to enable all lighting scenarios for your light build. Now we need the manager. For that, let's find the BP Manager streaming level in the Advanced Framework Core. It's under Blueprints and Managers. Add an instance of it to the main level and open it up. The Streaming Level Manager serves as an information hub. On the instance, you find two main settings, the available stream levels array and the currently loaded level index variable. Let's deal with the array first. It contains info on all streaming levels of your current world map. In our case, that is 2. As you can see, each element contains also some info like name, struct, and image, which is used in the palettes and HUD widgets. So let's enter here in the first element day as name and as texture this image. And most importantly, under level name, you enter the full name of the map of the streaming level corresponding to the entry. Lastly, let's have a look at the currently loaded index. This integer always states the index of the current ambience in the array we filled before, meaning it changes during runtime. But you can also use it to determine which streaming level is loaded when you first load the level. In our case, when we enter one here, the level starts with the nighttime ambience. And if we change it back to 0, the daytime ambience is loaded at the start of the level. Now we are just missing the user interfaces. However, there's not much new here. The Ambience HUD element and the Ambience Palette are set up like any other user interface of the type. Still, let me shortly recapitulate before proceeding to the Ambience Radial buttons, which are a bit more interesting. To integrate the Ambience Changer into your HUD, just add a new element to the HUD component on your desktop or mobile pawn. Enter a convenient name, Ambience or Lighting for example. As widget, enter the Ambience widget from the ArchViz extension, and as frame, the Ambience frame, also from the ArchViz extension. Now, in your desktop or mobile visualization, you can open the Ambience HUD in the lower corner of your screen and use the arrow buttons to change the streaming level. And as you can see, the widget automatically makes use of the images you entered in the streaming level manager. For the palette, we need to work on the VR pawn. Here too, all necessary elements for the Ambience palette are already included in the ArchViz extension. Just go to the Radial Menu component on your pawn and enter the Ambience Radial button to the Radial menu of your choice. Now when you start your visualization in VR, you can use the Radial menu to spawn the Ambience palette, which shows you a button for each streaming level you entered in the streaming level manager using the image and name you specified there. Lastly, you can use the Radial menu itself to give the player access to the different ambiences you created. And I will finish this tutorial by showing you how to set up this, starting with a short overview on Radial buttons. The Advanced Framework provides you with a hierarchy of multiple Radial button classes. The BP Radial button consolidates the shared logic of the Radial buttons, how they are spawned, selected and deleted, as well as a basic design. It has two child classes, the Radial button Palette and the Radial button Quick. The Radial button Palette and its child classes are adjusted to spawn a palette user interface and should not be used for any other purposes. The Radial button Quick is supposed to implement custom functions, which makes it perfect for our use case. Knowing that, let's create two child actors of the BP Radial button Quick, one for each streaming level, and open it up. In the viewport, you can see that the button already has the typical Radial button look. It only misses a unique icon, like this moon and stars for the night button. Add the icon as an additional static mesh and place it accordingly. Next, we need a bit of code to enable the button to do what we want. As you can see, the button already comes with a select component which it inherits from its parent and which implements its interaction with the player. We can just take the select pressed event dispatcher from the select component to initiate the ambience change. The first thing we need to do is find the streaming level manager in the level using this find actor of class node. The manager provides us with all the informations and functions we need. We simply call the load stream level event on the manager and provide it with an index which is different on each button, and the reason we had to create a button per streaming level. We can also change the fade duration if we want to. Let's have a short look at the event graph of the streaming level manager to see what it does with the info we provided. Finding the load stream level event, we see that it first initiates the fade using the fade duration we entered. Then comes the sequence, which first unloads the existing stream level and then gets the name of the new stream level from the array we entered using the index we transmitted from the button. And again, using the fade duration we entered, it loads the new level. Lastly, we need to add our new radial quick buttons to the radial menu defined on the radial menu component on the VR pawn. And now we can start the level and use the radial menu directly to change the ambience. I have to admit, the ambience changer is one of my personal favorites in the ArchViz extension, and I hope you will be able to put it to good use. So for now, I'll sign off. See you soon. Bye bye.